Brad, Mark wasn't very happy with the defense Saturday. How have the guys responded since the scrimmage?
Yeah, it was not a good performance by the defense, and no one's going to make any excuses about that. We've got to play better. We've got to play better across the board. We've responded at times this week, but still too many mistakes for all our likings, players, coaches included. So we got to keep cleaning that up. But there have been times that we have played well, and that's what we need to do. We need to learn how to be consistent and how to sustain.
Thomas Carter, there's been a lot of talk about him, and it seems seemingly he's made the transformation in where the game is now. Is it safe to say this light went on? When did that start to happen?
You know what? I think he started playing really well last year. Arguably Calvin was the most consistent. In last year's game tape, but 90 made a lot of plays. And then this year there was it's kind of like Josh, that switch between junior and senior year. His body, he's really filled out. He's added muscle. He's playing stronger. He's playing with a lot of confidence. So it's funny how that works. Those guys, sometimes it happens between sophomore and junior year. And then sometimes it takes all the way from junior to senior year. And there's that light bulb, that urgency that people see that helps amp them up. And he's responded to that sense of urgency. Some guys, they let it go. That little spark, and you either sense the spark and you respond to it, or there's that little sense of urgency, it's too hard, and then they wilt away. And he's, just like Josh last year, has responded to that and said, you know what, this is my chance, and this is my last chance. And he's been really solid. He's been really consistent, and he needs to be a big performer for us this year.
How's the situation in the secondary cleared up at all this week, or hasn't?
No, I mean, it's still a work in progress. We're still messing with a couple of different rotations here and there, and guys are getting reps with ones that when we started this deal weren't with ones, and guys that were ones are getting reps with twos, and we just keep spinning until we find the right rotation. And a lot of guys are going to have to step up. This isn't going to be a situation like last year where Mike plays every snap and Josh Allen plays every snap, and guys just play the entire games. I mean, it's going to be a rotation deal, and we're going to have to trust a lot of people. And that's where consistency has to happen, that when we have a sub, when we do rotate, that there's no drop-off and that everybody knows what to do.
Were there any positives that came out of the weekend from the defensive side? Because we've only heard about the negative point.
Well, we've been pretty solid on third down, but what I've told the guys is there's no cheat code. You can't just punch in a code and jump right to third. We've got to be consistent on first and second down to get us a chance to go on third and to make plays on third down and to get off the field. And we can't call the punter, if we're having a bad situation. We've got to work our way through bad series. And the way you work through bad series is you're good on first and second down. And you get a chance to get off the field on third.
Mark used the word strength, I think, when he described his kind of frustrations. Are they physical mistakes, or is it kind of assignment?
No, I think it was a little bit of both. We need more urgency. This isn't a situation where we can just roll the ball out on the field and think we're just going to go dominate. We have to learn how to strain on every play, and we talk about it a lot as a defense. That word of strain, and it's when you don't, or one guy doesn't, or two guys don't. That's an effort thing, and that's a problem. And we'll get that fixed. The guys have, still need more consistency from this week's practice, but the energy level has been better, and that's been more consistent. And when you have that energy, we'll clean up the mistakes, and we'll see what happens on Saturday.
What have you seen from J.J. Weaver so far? Is he kind of adjusted to college football?
Yeah, I mean, JJ's making strides. He is not afraid of contact, and that's a positive. To be as big and as long as he is, to not be afraid. You just never know how some guys, when they transition to this level of football, some guys it takes a little bit before they really want to put their face in it. From day one, he has not been afraid to go strike a puller, strike a fullback, a tackle. Obviously, it's a fair amount of defense that he's trying to wade through, so he's still finding his role there, but he's improving by the day, and I'm encouraged by his progress.
Where's Casey in his development? It seemed like he came in early and he played well in the spring game. And where is he at now?
Yeah, Jared, we're looking for consistency, and we've talked, and he's good, and he understands. It's a consistent deal. It can't, he's got the athletic ability. Again, playing the same linebacker position for him, was just a little bit of a transition from spring, and he's getting used to it, and I've seen a much more consistent player this week than I did in sort of those first, week and a half of camp. So what he needs to do is do that day in and day out, and then, when it comes to Saturday's scrimmage, he needs to show that as well.
Is Marquez Bembry available yet?
No, he is not.
Where is Xavier's at as far as, is he still going with the twos? And
Everybody's sort of rotating right now. Again, I'm trying to find the best mix, and so again, for me, it's not that there's twos, it's not that there's threes. There's some guys that are starting to niche out, their spot, in terms of ones, but even those, there's still some movement there. But no, he's in that sort of next rotation of guys, and again, another guy that needs to get into the playbook and know what to do on every play.
Vince said that MJ was one of those young guys working in some with the ones. What can he bring you all?
MJ brings a lot of speed, and his body language from day one to now, you can see a more confident player, and in something you'd expect, when a freshman comes in and he didn't come in early, the first couple of days of camp, it's going to be fast, and it's defense, and it's install every day, and you're thinking about what you did the day before, and here's a new install, and it's a new technique. And so a lot of freshmen are going to swim early, and he was one of those. But as he started to digest the playbook, you've seen that confidence, and he's got speed that he can hang with wideouts, and he's not afraid of go balls. And as he continues to build that confidence, he'll become a even better player for us. And so we're again, I use the word encouraged a lot because they're positive signs, but it's just that they're signs. What we need is consistent players, and I need to start using the word "we're pleased" with so and so, because that means he's doing his job down in and down out. Encouraged shows us that there's signs, but the lack of consistency.
What have you seen out of Boogie Watson?
I think it's a lot of what we've expected coming out of last year. He's going to be a guy that we're going to count on heavily as a pass rusher, as a primary pass rusher. He's taken that to heart. He understands that role. He needs to continue to be a guy that knows everything about our defense, and he's getting better. He's starting to ask all the right questions, and that's what we've needed from him. And so it's the light bulb's starting to go on. Again, he's another guy that it's not there yet, but at least he's at the point that when I make a correction, he understands why I'm making that correction. Oh, that makes sense, Coach. Got it. And then he won't make it again. So that's what we need. I talked about that with Josh last year. He was kind of like, he was at that point where you're a golfer and you make a bad swing. At least you know what you did wrong. Boog is starting to get to that point.
Okay, about Phil Hoskins.
Okay, last one.
Phil Hoskins, what have you seen from him so far in camp?
You know what? Phil's been more consistent probably than he's ever been here, and that's what I challenged him with this offseason. I know Coach LeBlanc has, Coach Stoops. We've all sort of challenged him to say, okay, you've got the physical tools to be a dominant defensive lineman, but it can't be 3 good plays, 1 bad play. It can't be 3 good plays, 2 bad plays. It's got to be good play after good play after good play after good play. And so he's he's getting there. It's not there yet, but it's been more consistent than it has in the past. Again, sort of that light bulb for a senior that he realizes, okay, you know, there's got to be an urgency into how I attack practice, because that's going to carry over to the game.
Hey, the folks.